Alzheimer's, What They Forget to Tell You, episode 40.
That's how old I am.
Hi, Rick.
Hello. I don't know who anybody is. Hi, Rick.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Richard.
Okay, so this week
I got the cushion. Sorry.
we have Cindy on. She's going to talk about her father passed away last week.
July 28th.
Was it last week? No.
So, no, it was the week before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still fresh. Hi, Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
And you're going to talk to us about how it is when someone passes away in a nursing home. Because it's a little bit, well, I wouldn't experience that, so I think people need to know.
Okay. So I don't know what you want me to
Hi,
say.
Alan.
Hi, Alan.
Okay, so I know, are you sure you're okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, I'll leave the screen. No, I won't.
No.
I'm kidding.
It's not an
I
option.
won't do that.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes, my father passed away on July 28th. He was living in a nursing home for 13 years. Prior to that. He was 83 years old, and his official diagnosis was dementia with secondary depression. There was some confusion about the diagnosis a while back, but then when we put him on the Alzheimer's medication, it was horrible.
Okay.
It had it on him. So
what was that, Aricept?
Aricept.
Okay.
Yeah, he started to kind of stiffen and seize and stuff, so we took him off it. On July 25th, so that would have been a Wednesday, my father stopped eating, which he had done before, and he kind of bounced back after a day or so, but he didn't. He refused his medications. He wasn't eating for 2 days. One of the things that is important also is in the nursing home. There's different levels of care that we have to sign, kind of like the DNR. So there's 4 levels.
So a DNR is a do not resuscitate form.
Yes.
For people who don't know.
Okay, so initially so there's 4 levels. So the 4th level, not to get too technical, but they'll pretty much do anything they can to save the person's life. So they'll take them to the hospital, they'll call the ambulance, all that kind of stuff. And then level 1 is palliative, so they won't do any type of intervention. So at the time, my dad was a level 2, which meant that they would treat him only in the home, but they wouldn't transfer him to the hospital, and they would do the best that they could. But they gave me the option at the time to change it to a level 3, which meant they would send him to the hospital just for some assessments and stuff. So we did that, and that was Wednesday night? No, Thursday night. We went to the hospital.
It was Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after a lot of assessments and blood work, it basically came out that his kidneys had gone into severe failure due to dehydration, and that there was no other treatment that was going to help him. He was very frail at that time, so it was our choice, well, my choice at the time, to either try and treat him, which would have kind of proven fatal anyways, or to send him back to the nursing home so that he would be palliative, and that's what we chose to do. So within 48 hours, he went from level 2 to level 3, and then when he returned back, he was a level 1, which meant they stopped giving him medication. They just made him comfortable, and they had the morphine and stuff in his tray in the event that he became restless, which they didn't use, which I was really happy about. So he went back to the home on Friday morning. All of the family came to visit him during the day on Friday, and then
Because you said that he was eating. He stopped eating, and then he
yes,
did eat.
Because I think I actually mentioned it on the podcast, right? That he had eaten dinner, which we were really excited about.
Just ignore me.
That's okay. Nice.
Thank you.
So yes, he did eat dinner, but he was still not responsive, and he wasn't as alert as they wanted him to be. So one other thing about having them in the nursing home. So he was seen by the doctor on the Thursday, and he had ordered blood work. But blood work is only done on certain days of the week at the nursing home.
Okay.
So we would have had to wait until Monday, which was the next day that the labs would come and do the blood work.
Really?
Yes.
From Thursday?
From Thursday.
Wow.
So the reason why we sent him was because then we'd be able to get the blood work done right away. So that was one of the reasons why we did that. Anyways, so he... family came to visit him on Friday, and then me and my brother and my sister-in-law were there on Saturday, and he peacefully passed. So he didn't go into any distress. He was sleeping the whole time, and he passed while we were at lunch.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I'm really, I don't know. It's like mixed feelings.
Yeah.
It's still hard. It's still your dad. So.
Yeah. But I think that what I keep telling my friends and my family is that I think he was ready.
Yeah.
Because he passed quite quickly, right? Like
well,
they were.
I know. When you told me, I couldn't believe it.
And even the specialist said, without treating him, he could have lasted anywhere between 3 to 5 days, sometimes a week. Apparently, there's some stories where.
Even I've heard 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks with no food, and and he passed away within a day and a half. So I think he was done fighting, and at least he was able to pass away at home. He was able to see his family. He wasn't in any distress. That's something I always worry about, because I don't want it. I don't want him to be in pain. I'm now wondering about the lights. Should we try? Look.
What?
There's some shadow or some glare. I don't know what's happening. Look. No. We need to close that now.
Okay.
Look.
No, just keep going.
But okay.
It's fine.
Anyway.
Nobody's looking at me.
No, but still, I am. It's all shadowy. No? Okay.
I'm not going to adjust.
Okay, fine. So, so he passed away on the 28th. One of the things I had mentioned to Karen prior to this was that if you have a loved one in a nursing home, they don't necessarily tell you the policy about what happens when your loved one dies, probably because they don't want to have that conversation with you at the time.
Which probably should.
They should.
At some point.
Yeah. So the ministry policy, at least in Ontario, is your loved one's belongings have to be removed from the room within 48 hours of their passing, which we did not find out until we were in the midst of all of the funeral arrangements.
And they were being very adamant, you said.
Yes, so they called my brother, said, somebody's coming to look at the room, and I know it's about optics. Like, I know that they don't want people, like families, to come in and look at a lived-in room, because then they know they're going to associate with somebody who passed away, right? So it has to be like a sterile hospital room.
But think about it. Let's just think about it in the real world.
Yes.
If someone passes away, even like going into that person's room, let's just say it was in a house, and even if they didn't pass away in the house or whatever, it takes a long time. That process is a long time. You're not ready to just...
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
so I had some fine words.
Yeah.
Some sweet words.
What kind of words?
I can't say. Okay. Yeah, so I did not go to pick up his stuff.
I don't blame you.
I mean, that's 13 years of his life, and they want me to pack up everything in like a couple of hours, which, at least for me, was unacceptable. See, I'm using professional words right now. It was unacceptable.
It's inappropriate. To say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it is ministry standards, so, that's something that I think everybody should know if your loved one is in the nursing home. My mom passed away in the nursing home, but I think because they were rooming together, it wasn't necessarily that imminent, or that important to get her stuff out in that period of time.
They probably had time. And there's unfortunately, which brings us to another topic, is that there is like a huge waiting list.
Yes.
To get in.
Yeah.
There's like over 30,000 people waiting.
Right. And this is a subsidized room as well.
In Ontario.
Yeah.
So.
Right, like this isn't a private
room. They don't have time, unfortunately. And oh yeah, okay.
No,
I understand.
Like, so this is like a subsidized room. This is for
So people. He was sharing?
He was sharing a room.
Wow.
With his roommate.
Okay,
and,
so yeah.
And my fish tried to jump out of the aquarium.
Only during this thing, right? Does that always happen?
I don't know. I've never heard it until now.
All right.
My fish they're trying to escape.
Okay.
I'm boring.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Nadira. Hi, Jason.
I know I shouldn't, but in case there's an emergency, my son's at a soccer game right now, and I might get a text for an emergency. Like, where's the game? So give me one second.
Is it this?
Yes. Sorry, this is so unprofessional.
Rude.
I know, but I just want... No, we're good. Okay. So, there's a 48-hour window for you to get your loved one's stuff outside of the room.
So even if you are able to or not, it has to go.
It has to go. So, is that here? Yeah. So that's that. And it's been up and down. I've had a lot of wonderful people in my life checking in on me, so I'm very appreciative.
Like if you had to mention anyone. No, I'm just joking.
Well, I think you just...
Okay, sorry. Never mind.
Disregard.
Not important.
But I think, I remember when it first started happening, we were talking, and I said,
I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, yay, he's eating.
He's eating. But then even when we were talking about the possibility, because I remember when I called you, I said, he's not eating, and you already knew at that time, like...
it's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's not good. And I remember saying to you, like,
and for people who don't know, because swallowing is like the last sign for like Alzheimer's or dementia. They have difficulty. They forget how to swallow, and so that's usually. And when they stop eating, you kind of like prepare yourself. So when Cindy's dad started eating, I was like, oh,
yeah, we were so happy.
Okay, so.
But even like when we were even thinking about the idea that this might not be good. I remember saying I don't know how to feel about it. Like it was sad. Like I was sad, but he's been. This is something that we've watched him like go through for a really long time.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. It's the same thing I say about my mom too. Like it's 18 years, and you're prepared. I'm trying to prepare myself, but I know I'm gonna still feel that like, okay, it's good. Because she's not. Yeah. She's just a shell. There's no quality of life. But I mean, you're still gonna. It's hard. It's hard to say. I think.
Well, because it sounds insensitive.
Yeah,
or cold, but I don't think it is.
And you're still grieving.
Yeah.
Regardless of the situation, I think that's important to discuss because I think a lot of people. I don't think they mean to be insensitive, but like I even hear it, and I'm sure you've heard it. Well, there's no quality of life, but the person's still living, or the person, there's still a life, regardless of the quality.
Right.
It's still not nice to hear when someone tries to kind of like, and I think they mean well.
The intentions, for the most part, are good. Others, which are not necessary for this podcast, are not very.
Why?
Helpful.
We're venting. People want to know. No? Not so much?
Not really. Well, yes, he's not suffering anymore. Yes, he's with my mother, who passed away.
But we don't really know. Okay. We don't really know if he was suffering. Was he suffering?
I don't know.
That's right.
He was nonverbal at the time.
Just like Mom.
I even asked them. I remember I asked the doctor at the time whether or not he was in any pain, and they said, well, all we can go on right now is his nonverbal cues, like his grimacing.
It's usually, the grimacing.
Right, if he's making any noises. But he was very peaceful, so we have to, at least for our own, comfort, we have to kind of believe that he was not in pain.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't, and I think that was a big thing, right? Because I think that there's always this idea of you want to do as much as you can to kind of keep them alive, and then that then becomes conflicted with the quality of life.
Right, because then you're the same thing. Like you were talking about going back and forth of the levels. Like, okay, we have a do not resuscitate, but then you said that the nursing home at least called you to make sure. Like, do you still want him to have this do not resuscitate? And it is. It's like, the first thing that you think about is saving somebody, saving a life. And it's really tough to kind of be like, no.
And one thing that I found really interesting was the different perspectives in terms of the medical, like the practitioners, right? So I had met with the ER doctor first, and the emergency room doctor, and the ER doctor said, it's not looking good. All of the options are going to prove pretty fatal because he was very frail. And so at that time we had decided, because I wanted his family to come and say goodbye. So we had decided that they were going to put him on IV.
Okay.
Right? To prolong it and then transfer him to the nursing home in the morning, because it was like 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, and transfer him to the home where they would then stop treating him, and then he would eventually pass. And I left the hospital, and I was so upset, and I was crying. I was calling my brother, and I was like, this is what's happening, blah blah blah. And as I'm on the phone, the specialist called me from the hospital, and he says, "Can you come back? I need to talk to you." So I was like, okay, that doesn't sound good.
I know.
So I went back, and and his perspective, which I really did appreciate a little bit more, was the idea that, he said putting him on IV was not going to cure him. It wasn't going to help him. He was going to be in the same state as he was in at that time, which he was asleep the whole time. And so, he was very he didn't dance around the issue, right? So he was like, you need to be okay with your intentions of doing this. Like, you don't want to do it for selfish reasons.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is we're prolonging whatever he's going through right now until the next day. And there was still no guarantee that with the IV he was going to survive the night, right? So he was like, if you want to prolong it, but know that we're just prolonging it. And at that point, we decided, again, we were like all over the place. We decided then that if that was the case, to just send him back in the middle of the night to the nursing home. Because it is about quality of life, right?
That was the right decision.
He would just be, and I know that a lot of people question, I had to explain myself to, his other family members, because, it's a different mindset, right? It's that you do everything you can to kind of, and I think that was a difficult conversation to have, because it was as if, I didn't want to say I was giving up. It wasn't that I was giving up. I think it was I was accepting what was going to eventually happen, and I wanted him to have some type of dignity.
These are tough decisions.
It's a tough decision at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're sitting in the emergency room for 5 hours,
and you're dealing with your own grief.
Right. Yeah. So it's not the best of decisions, and I think that's something that we have. I think that's something that when it actually happens, it's a difficult one to kind of think about.
I kind of did my grieving. I did pre-grieving, if you could understand that. So when all of these decisions had to be made for my mom when she first went into palliative care, I did counseling, because I had to wrap my head around the fact that I'm giving up. I'm basically saying, I'm not doing any bells and whistles. I'm not, this is it. This is when, she's going to decide how, but I'm not trying to sustain this life,
right,
how she's living right now, because it's I don't think she would want to.
No.
But I'm guessing, right? Like, she did do a living will, which has no merit after, like, that bill.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because there's so many parameters around the legalities of it. Like,
Okay.
for sure, because I and my brother have deciding authority, because a person could stand to gain. So, like, if I'm in, financially they can't make the decision.
Oh, right.
So I was like, being facetious, going, okay, so should I let the gardener make that? Just like, who are you? Excuse me. Do you put a classified ad? Excuse me. Can you make a decision? Like, if it comes to, like, who? Then who?
I don't know.
If it's not your loved ones, like your family, like, who?
Right. Because you would have her best interest.
It's really, we care more about our animals than we do.
But you know what? I personally believe that bill had to fall or pass because there were some family members who took advantage of that. And those are, like, it's that idea of, like, the rotten apple.
Right, but then
right?
I'm thinking...
Which is unfair.
Okay, but I'm thinking there should be, like, come on, common sense. If the person has been around for, like, 10 years and there's zero quality of life, like, there's an incurable disease, come on. What does that person stand to gain after a decade?
Right. Oh, I agree with you. I agree.
Wow. Anyways,
we
digress.
That's fine.
Because this is nothing. Anyways.
No, but it is. I mean, it's definitely a difficult decision.
Yeah.
So, but my conscience is clear.
That's right.
Right.
Because you did everything.
Yeah. There was nothing else that could have been done.
And he really did go when he was ready.
I think so. Yeah. And, like, it was not funny. Can you use that?
Yes, you can.
In this context?
Yeah.
It was really funny when my dad passed away.
Yeah.
We were there, like, in the morning, and then we went out for lunch, and so we went into the room. He hadn't woken up since I saw him on the Wednesday, and we said, Dad, we're going to be right back. We're just going for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back in an hour. And he passed while we were away.
Yeah.
So he, I think...
He went when he was ready.
I think so.
And he didn't want an audience.
No.
They say that, though. They say that... my grief counselor said that. Like, he worked in a hospice. Mm-hmm. And he said, like, a person can just step out.
Yeah.
Just go to the washroom, and then that's when it will happen.
Well, my mom did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, she was she was in CCU. She passed away in 2008, and she was getting, like, really worked up. She was on the not the CPAP, it's the other PAP, some EPAP, whatever PAP. It was full on mask.
The oxygen.
Like this, like Darth Vader. That's what I called her,
okay.
and she loved it. Anyway. So she was starting to, like, kind of have difficulty breathing. So I said, okay, well, let's, take some time, take a nap. I'll be back. I'm going to go drive and see Dad, who lived like 10 minutes away in the nursing home. And I'll come back when you wake up. And by the time it took me to leave the hospital and get to the nursing home, the hospital called and said that she had passed.
That's right? I've heard a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, I think, though, that the grieving process...
It'll come in waves.
Yeah. It's different, though. Like, it's different from when my mom passed away. Because I feel like... Yeah, kind of like you said with your mom, right? Like, she's a different person.
Yeah.
Like, he was a different person, and I still loved him.
Yeah,
but
me too. And I can't communicate with her.
Yeah, I couldn't communicate
so that makes it difficult.
with him. Like, I know, like, it was expected but unexpected at the same time. So I was actually talking to a friend of mine today, and I said, when it came to the stages of grief, I think I only have
Kubler-Ross.
Oh, sorry, stages of grief.
Psychiatrist.
Sorry.
Who examines
the social worker in me just came out.
She's like, okay,
the stages
of grief. Okay,
yeah.
so no.
So
Kubler-Ross was a psychiatrist who noticed there were patterns of people who were dealing with death and dying, or someone who just was diagnosed with an illness. And the first one is
denial, anger, bargaining is third. Bargaining, depression, and acceptance. When Kubler-Ross came up with these,
I wanted to kill Kubler-Ross.
Well, when she came up with it, apparently the idea was that we were going to go through the stages sequentially.
Yeah, and
it's not like that. Like, you can
tidy.
have all 5 in one day. I can wake up completely fine.
That's what I said about Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Dealing with Alzheimer's, you can go through all of that in one day.
In one day, and then you wonder why you're so exhausted, right? And it's because you wake up and everything is fine, and then a song comes on the radio, and all of a sudden you're like bawling, looking at the guy beside you. Then you get angry because the guy beside you in the car is looking at you like, what is wrong with you? And you just want to, say sorry. And then you're like all over the place, and then you wonder what's wrong with me. Yes. But with this one, I feel like I didn't do denial, I didn't do anger, and I didn't do bargaining. I flip-flop between sadness and acceptance, and that's it. Because I feel like there's no denial because it was expected.
And there's nothing more you could have done.
No.
So there's no bargaining.
There's no bargaining. Oh, I'm stuck. There's no anger because I feel like the way that he passed was with dignity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is the main thing.
So I feel like with those, so Kubler-Ross with a capital W. Only 2. Going through.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know if anyone has questions, but I feel like
pretty sure nobody's going to have questions.
Sorry. I know everyone's watching.
They're
and
like,
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, okay. So,
blah, blah, blah,
how about
blah,
those
blah,
J's?
Keep talking.
All right. Well, okay. It's a sad thing. It's sad.
Yeah.
But
it's
it's
inevitable.
part of this. It's inevitable for
Yeah.
anybody, and I think that's probably the main message, that if your loved one is, I just think personally, anybody is healthy or not, because if you don't have these hard discussions about what your wishes are, what you want, and I know people don't like to talk about death, but
you have to.
You can't get out of this world alive. It hasn't been done yet. So I think it's something you should talk about. Like I tell Jalen, barbecue. I want to be cremated. Hook it up. Don't delay.
Like in a Spitfire? Like
I don't care.
I don't understand.
I'm not.
Just load up the oven. We're good.
It's fine. You don't need to do all the dramatics. Save your money. Save your money.
No, but cremating costs a lot of money.
No, it's like $4,000.
That's still a lot of money.
It's better than
did you know
$20,000
that you actually have to buy a coffin?
Yeah.
In order to be cremated.
But it's like not a.
But even if it's a pine box, you still have to pay for it.
That's how they get you.
It's a business. Just like how you have to get a coffin for the coffin. And
then you have to get you have to get an urn.
Oh, you're getting cremated. So
Yeah.
yes. I don't know if you can sprinkle. You can sprinkle.
You could just, I don't care. I'm
on your driveway.
You could do whatever. Not on the driveway. That's rude. No.
Okay. In the garden?
No, I don't want to be in the garden. No.
Is this getting morbid?
No, because it's part of life.
Well,
so
okay.
Should we
it's not part of
it?
life. It's part of life that you want to be cremated, but like
you're not
where we're gonna spread your ashes.
It's illegal.
Might
you
actually
can't just be spreading my ashes all anywhere.
How are they gonna know? I could say it was in my
you're doing
barbecue.
This live. You're doing this live. You're admitting. It's the first step.
I'm making suggestions.
You're doing the Kubler-Ross.
I'm making healthy suggestions.
You're at acceptance. You're admitting.
Jalen, don't listen to what I'm suggesting.
You're not allowed to just spread human remains anywhere you feel like it.
How are they gonna know?
Well, because I told you, you just admitted.
Well, yeah, I guess.
This is not Dumbest Criminals.
Well.
How would they know? Well, we saw your confession.
Man. Edit.
Anywho.
This is why I don't like live.
Okay, anywho.
Because we can edit. We can edit it out.
Jalen's not going to be spreading my ashes all over town.
Okay.
Not allowed.
Is he supposed to carry your ashes everywhere? Those urns are expensive.
You don't have to. No, he could. I don't know. Don't they have new things now? Like
they have the
like
vials.
Well, that's ridiculous.
They have a vial.
I don't want to be carried
and
around.
No, Jalen's going to carry a vial of Karen.
No thanks.
Around her.
No, he's not.
Everywhere.
He's not.
And they're going to be like, oh my God, that's so pretty. What is it? And he'll be like, it's my mom.
No. Not happening. He could just bury my ashes.
But then you have to pay for burial.
So what?
Your whole point of being cremated was because it costs too much to have.
Yeah, but it's like a little
funeral.
thing. Like it's a little thing.
So you want him to dig a hole?
Really?
I'm just saying, because if you have to get somebody to dig a hole, you know how much it costs to dig a hole?
How much?
$2,000. $2,000 to dig a hole and fill it back up. $2,000. So you want him to cremate you, which is $4,000. Dig a hole, which is like $2,000. We're already at like $6,000, and you haven't even bought the coffin.
He's gonna be.
The vial.
He's gonna be a surgeon. He can afford it.
Then, if he can afford it, he should just have a regular.
No, I don't want all of that. I don't want to have a viewing and all of that.
Do you think that they should have, or does it exist? You know how like when you're pregnant, you have birth plans. Should you not have a death plan?
Yeah, they do have them.
Like in pure detail. This is what I want.
Yes,
really?
You can buy that.
Actually, I bought one for my dad, but he didn't plan it. I did.
Right. So you can't. No, you should. You should. I think everybody should.
Yes.
Everybody should have a funeral plan.
Yes. So a couple years ago, a couple years ago, I went to the funeral home. I planned out his entire funeral, from the prayer cards to the casket to everything. So really, all they needed was him to kind of fill the whole thing.
See there.
And
then it's less stress.
Yes, but we calculated the cost. This was awesome. I don't know why it's awesome, but we calculated how much it would cost, and I started paying in to his funeral 2 years ago every month. So when he passed away, we already had a deposit down. Prepared. It's all about.
That's what you do.
But it's not something that people are comfortable with.
I don't know.
I've always been comfortable.
Well, because like when my dad passed away, he had a massive heart attack. We didn't know. We just guessed.
Right.
Like, we didn't know what to do.
Right.
He didn't tell us his wishes. He didn't have anything planned.
Right.
And then it leaves it to the kids going,
and it's
am
not,
I doing the right
emotionally,
thing?
You're just
yeah,
not
like I'm drained.
ready.
It was already shocking because it was unexpected. Obviously, a massive heart attack is unexpected. Yeah. And he was 58, so that's unexpected.
Yeah, he was young.
So, like you're there going, and my mom has Alzheimer's, so I can't ask her.
Right.
And she kept saying cremated, so we just went with that.
Okay.
Which was odd because my dad was devout Catholic. Anyways.
Why you're not supposed to be...
I don't know, back in the day,
I don't know.
They were against cremation. Catholicism was against cremation, but now it's okay.
Okay.
Now it has a thumbs up now.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Okay. That's a different conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Well, I'm sorry if this was a pretty somber... morbid conversation today. Usually your podcasts are so upbeat and funny and hearted, and here I am talking about death.
Well, okay, this death is a part of life.
Mourning and the grieving
and we talk about things you're gonna have to deal with. And this is something you're gonna have to deal with, and it doesn't even matter. It's not dementia related.
Right.
So
one of the things I forgot to mention, so he passed away due to kidney failure, right? His kidneys failed because of dehydration. However, according to his death certificate, his official cause of death was complications due to end stages of dementia. Because even though his kidneys failed, it was because he was dehydrated, which was because he refused to eat, which was because of the dementia. So it all kind of trickled back to that. So
at least they're getting proper stats, because that's a number one issue of why the stats are kind of skewed, because typically what happens on a death certificate is they will put the reason for death as whatever happened. So like in my mom's case, perhaps, let's just say she develops pneumonia and passes away from pneumonia, they're going to put it on her death certificate, pneumonia, but it's really Alzheimer related, right? So,
and I wonder if that's because he was in a nursing home.
Probably, because they're probably more aware of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long morbid convo.
Thanks, Cindy.
But wait, before we finish, you have the exciting news about your book.
I do.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes. I'm putting you in the spot.
Okay, it's on the process of getting published, so it's being edited right now. However, because it's 436 pages,
that's a lot of pages.
It's a lot of pages. But I did incorporate my first book in this book.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting kind of like 2 books for the price of 2.
Two.
It's a great deal.
Two. For one.
Anyways, I don't know. It's looking like, well, because I initially said this publisher is an academic publisher, so they do books for universities and colleges,
like textbooks and stuff.
Yeah, textbooks. So I'm trying to see what the price I can, but it's looking at about $80. So I'm not sure.
There is no cost for knowledge. Just saying.
Thanks, Cindy.
I should patent that one.
I'm pretty sure it's taken.
Is it done by that
knowledge
owl?
Is power.
The owl with the hat, with the graduation hat. Did he say that? There's no cost. But anyways, no cost for knowledge.
I will see what the publisher says, and I will keep you posted. And
next week's podcast,
Facebook has a lot of politics on doing podcasts on your page, so I might switch it over to my author page, like the live podcast. So I'll let you know prior to next week where it will be, where you need to log on, view.
Okay. Hopefully next week will be a lot more lively.
Well, is that a pun?
Oh my gosh! Didn't even. Was that too soon? I think that was
too soon. Hashtag too soon.
That was a little.
That was not appropriate.
No. That was my clinical word. Completely inappropriate.
Okay.
Unbelievable. But it was actually good. It was like, I totally didn't even catch that. So clever.
It's a Freudian slip.
Yes. So yes, hopefully next week will be a lot more lively. And have the party bumping. Yeah. Right? So.
But hi Monique, hi Sandy, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, Monique, you should come on one time, a different perspective of a caregiver, but it will be great to hear what you're going through, and I know Monique's challenges firsthand, but if she's feeling comfortable, she can talk about it. And Sharon is supposed to come and talk about her mother-in-law who was diagnosed with dementia, or not even, maybe misdiagnosed. But she was going to come on as well. Okay, so till next week.
Bye.
You have to press finish.
Finito.